Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel, and today we've got War 5 of Season 52 versus Chaos, bringing in Spider-Punk, White Tiger and Void today. Starting off on Path 1, we've got this Professor X on the personal space Regen node. I'm going to be using Punk, going to be trying to get up my heal block from the tactic and deal with it that way. So obviously I do get a miss counter by using the tactic while I have the heal block up, but Punk in this fight, I didn't quite get the tempo to keep it up as much as I needed, so things get not risky, but like a couple things go not entirely to plan, so we'll see that. I do start off by trying to bait his L1s, but he's not really going for it. His 25 charges does also counter my evade, which is a little bit annoying. So here, I don't have my heal block up, and he's got his power gain, so he goes to L2 and we bait this out. He's more likely to throw a special. The power efficiency keeps him at 2 bars, so he's still there when he comes out of this falter. And he throws another L2, don't have the heal block up still. And yeah, this is kind of just what I meant by, it doesn't feel like it's entirely in my control. We finally got the heal block back up, so we go for an L2. Get some nice crits, which gets us right back to another L2 with power backs, and I step back into an L2 to close out the fight. It wasn't awful, but I didn't feel entirely in control. I should have worked a little bit harder to keep my debuffs up and keep the tactic going. Next up, got this Magneto. I've taken this a few times now, especially on this node. I've taken a few different champions, and Punk works really well for it. He's one of the best options here. Leader is another one who's very good on this node, but obviously he's metals, so we don't want to be sending it against a Magneto. So starting off, I step back to let Magneto dash at me. It means that my evade will trigger a debuff because that will be an intercept, and I can get tactic going pretty quickly. I try and get Magneto to go into a couple of intercepts. He doesn't go for it, so I wait for my evade to come back off cooldown, and then we go for a couple more intercepts, go for a heavy, kind of baiting out specials. All good so far. And then here, I go for a couple of heavies, and I don't notice that the power gain pushes him over a bar of power, so I eat an L1 there, which was very silly, but just notice how little damage that did, even with the bleed afterwards, and that's the Encore passive. Every time that they throw a special, I reduce the damage that they're going to throw by that same special. It's kind of like Mr. Fantastic's careful study passives. Eat a little combo there because I was a little shaken up by eating that L1 as well, but everything's under control. Got plenty of health left. Step back into that relic just to get my opening, and now I have my evade, I have an L2, so I think we step back into this L2 here, get another couple nice crits off, and then I think we just step back into L1 here to close out the fight. The L1, as I said before, just applies all of the remaining damage of those ruptures instantly, and it's really nice to close out fights. So yeah, not too bad. A little bit shaky, but Punk survives. And next up, moving into section 2, we're on 5B now, so I've got a couple of ebb and flow intercept fights with Punk again. He's, as I've shown before, he's incredibly good for this node. The Kate Bishop-esque riposte style counter attack is just so useful. You never have to put yourself under pressure to intercept, and then even if it's not around when you have to go for another intercept, you can, like we've done there, just go for it, and then the counter evade being on cooldown allows you to just safely get out of the opponent hitting you if they try and hit you while that's on cooldown and you're dashing at them. So I'm going to be taking this one a little bit slow. I don't want to get too close to getting 10 spores on me. I'm going to be trying to avoid that damage as much as possible. Luckily, a Mega Red special one is very long and keeps him far away, so as long as I manage that, I should be okay. But I'm just going to be baiting the same special over and over again, trying to keep up my tactic. And when I need to, like this, I see that my evade is coming back around the time ebb and flow intercept resets, so the protection's back up. I save my intercept until then, and then go straight into an L2 after I've got the intercept. The Fury's boost, the Fury passive from ebb and flow intercept boosting the ruptures is very nice, and there when I notice the protection is coming back, I go for an L1, which rushes the damage that my ruptures would have done and applies it all at once. So again, another really good example of how good the SP1 can be. I was about to lose out on all the damage from those ruptures because they were about to go away, but I threw the L1 and it just kind of banked my damage. So yeah, pretty good. And next up, got this Destroyer on 5B again. I've taken this a few times now, but I think this is by far my best. It goes very well. I'm really pleased with how it goes, and Punk just manages it excellently. So I'm going to be looking, as usual on these nodes, to be using my evade in order to take the protection down. I'm really conscious of keeping enough debuffs up to keep my heal block from the tactic up. And I also want to try and time everything so that I have heal block up when the power gain triggers. So we start off with a couple of intercepts to apply some debuffs. I get some nice resonate procs, which is good, and then straight back to another intercept to keep it going. I'm going to be baiting out special ones in the fight because that means that I will be applying more ruptures from the Encore passive, and that'll help me keep up tactic as well. It does mean that I'm going to be dealing with a little bit more power gain from him because his own native power gain, not the tactic one, will trigger, but I found this way a little bit better. So we go for a nice L2 there, a couple nice crits, and then bait out the special ones so that the ruptures will tick during, and that means that we take off a bunch of damage straight away. I'm going to be dashing in and trying to dex the last hits of those special ones because it will mean that he doesn't gain the charges of his own kit in order to gain his power gain as quick anyway. So yeah, we dex that, and I'm just going to get this last special one out of him. So we step back and go for our intercept. I go for a little combo, and then I can throw my own L2, and then here I know that he's about to charge at me, so I throw my own L1, and that banks the damage once more. The special one means that we can gain the damage that it would have done from those ruptures. Even though they've just been shrugged off, the special one still applies that damage. So really, really good fight, clean fight. Punk's a very good option there. Moving on to this personal space regen Photon. Again, I've taken this a few times. I'm pretty sure I take it every war this season, it feels like. Void's very, very good for it. He's a little bit less good for it this season because the heal block means that you can't reverse the regen as much, but over this season I do try and find opportunities to reverse regen when I can, when I've got a couple of reversals with the Petrify and the heal block's down. So like usual, I'm just going to be trying to deal with pure light in the safest way possible, and that means generally pushing to 2 bars of power, either 2 special ones or 1 special 2, and then after that, that's when you're kind of looking for your first knockdown. So after this first special one, she's approaching 10, I want to bait out 1 more L1 from her and then knock her down as she's on literally as close to 0 power as much. That's why I don't hit her more after that opening there. I want to bait out the special when she's got very little power, and that just means I've got plenty of space, plenty of flexibility to deal with this opening pure light and just kind of stall until it goes away. So bait out a couple heavies, see what she's going to do, and then pure light is gone and we can carry on with the fight. So again, we're just going to be waiting for that opportunity to knock her down after she throws a special. I'm getting a little bit close to my corner, but I'm also okay with it because if I do get cornered, I can just either bait heavies, I can parry her. I'm very confident dealing with her in the corner, and we're getting close to where we need to deal with the pure light again. So I throw my special one. Got a little bit less breathing space at this point, but we're just going to bait a couple heavies. I'm going to tap her a couple times, and then I'm going to shift into just parrying or baiting heavies in the corner. Pure light is gone, and we're safe once more. So here I spot that I've got a good opportunity to heal reverse. I'm pretty far away from my own heal block. I've got a Petrify and she's got a few regens, so I'm just going to stay close, keep parrying her. I've got the Petrify mastery, so that's even more regen reversal, and she just KOs from there. So it's really nice to spot the opportunity in those sorts of fights where you can then shift to reversing regen. So next up, at the moment I have 2 mastery builds, and one of them is Mystic Dispersion and one of them is Collar Tech and Resonate. So I am now taking White Tiger versus Serpent, so I switch my mastery builds and I go back in and I see that my invuln from the Photon fight is just about to run out when I go for this boost pre-phase. So I see it and I go, okay, I need to go in the fight. but you might have noticed that I also didn't apply my Mystic Power Back boosts because I had the Science ones running, and I literally realized right now as the fight started, and I said a not very family friendly phrase, and I thought I was going to die. So I am panicking throughout this whole fight. This fight is very, very simple as long as you have Mystic Power Backs, which I don't have. So I'm really nervous because there's no way for me to consistently spam my L2s, and I need to be dealing with his charges. So I'm pretty much just deciding to throw whatever special I can to refresh my Mr. Fantastics, to keep knocking him down, but also I'm trying to get to my L2 because that is where my real damage comes from. I'm going to try as well. I mean, there's so much going on in this fight. My head is in an absolute state, but I'm going to try and get an L2 off while I have my Power Steel. We're at an L2, but the protection's back and I don't have my Power Steel, so I go for a parry heavy. And I'm going to need to bait another special here because otherwise I'm going to be pushing him red. So I go for my L2 and hope that he throws his own one afterwards. Luckily he does. I don't punish this because I didn't want to get parried, but we bait out that heavy. His protection's back, so I throw another L1, which takes the protection down but also refreshes my reads. Yeah, this fight is not in a great position. I'm really, really nervous. So I'm saving my relic to the very end because I know that if I lose my invuln and he gets into his death immunity phase, it'll be really tough to deal with. But yeah, I'm still just throwing my L1s over and over again. When I can get to L2, I'm going to try and get to L2. We go for full combo, go for our own L2, and at this point I'm feeling okay as long as he dashes in and throws a heavy. He throws a full combo pretty much, finally gets the heavy off. I've still got my relic. He's in death immunity, the protection's up, but I can just throw this L2. Luckily, the combo takes him down. I was in a good position anyway, because even if I'd thrown the L2, it would have bled him and KO'd him, and I still had my invuln. But yeah, I was not in a good way on that fight, and it is not a mistake I make again. After this war, I change up my mastery build so that I have Mystic Dispersion the same one as my Resonate build, because I'm also not running many techs this season, so Collar Tech wasn't necessary either. Yeah, not my finest hour. I wasn't looking forward to putting that in our death chat where we post our deaths and saying that I had forgotten a certain type of boost. That would not have been good. But moving on, Void versus this Wong. So this is Hazard Shift, Shock, Incinerate. I have an Odin pre-fight for this fight, and I have Mr. Fantastic pre-fights, so easy tactic uptime and also a lot more damage. Few more unique debuffs, more DOT, all good. The only thing I need to watch out for in this fight, aside from all of the risks obviously, I'm taking a Mangog on 46, the Aspect of Evolution node, after this, and I can't finish this fight over a bar of power, with Wong over bar of power, because if I do, then I have the Wong crossfight on me, and the Mangog will start by rushing straight to an L3. We had a backup plan for someone else to be able to take it if I did mess this up, but I didn't want to mess it up because Void is a very safe option for the Mangog. So I am purely focusing on, of course, first soloing, but I'm really focusing on trying to finish this fight with Wong under a bar of power. So in aid of that, I'm going to be waiting a little bit at the end and not hitting him too much just to try and safely close out the fight without him having a bar. So I'm not focusing as much on my Mr. Fantastic pre-fights. They are obviously nice, but it's not the be-all end-all. But you see here the power gain has triggered just as my heal block falls off, so I've got no miscounter and I missed that. We let our reads fall off, and at this point I know that I don't really want to be pushing him back up to another bar of power because I don't think I'm going to be able to bait out a special in time in order for him to not throw that special, and then I get the crossfight. So I'm just going to retreat to my corner and hope that I don't get hit by a heavy, because if I do, he's going to get a bar of power and then I'll get the crossfight. So I'm just baiting heavy and after heavy, trying to let him tick down, really, really nervous, and we managed to make it work. So yeah, watch out for Wongs, watch out for the crossfights. And next up, the aforementioned Mangog. So I took this one last war, and I didn't have Mr. F's for it because we had someone else try it, and it didn't work, and I cleaned it up. But this time, we wanted to try it again. We wanted to try it with the Mr. F pre-fights and see how safe it was. So the Mr. F's are really nice here because it means we get an early tactic, and that's huge here. It means, I don't know if anyone's ever taken this before with Void outside of this tactic, but you're kind of hoping for early petrifies to counteract the power gain. This means that you don't need to rely on the RNG. As soon as you get the heal block, that's like a minus 75% to his power gain. And the petrify is an additional bit, and then hopefully you do get your own petrifies. So we just need kind of a couple of resonate procs or a couple of debuffs to apply, baiting out an early L1 in order to punish and pause the charge gain. We get an early petrify ourselves there, which is nice. And then, yep, just baiting out L1s, making sure that I keep knocking down every so often to keep the read pre-fights up. We have the heal bar from the tactic, and we have a couple of petrifies, one from read, one from ourselves. So we're in a pretty good spot. Here the power gain triggers, and he's getting close to his rage, so I'm going to be holding on to my own special here because I want one when he goes unstoppable to get rid of it. And yeah, we'll go for a heavy to bait out this last SB1. He goes into his unstoppable unblockable phase, but I have my L1 ready, so I'm just going to parry and then throw my L1 straight away, removing the unstoppable, applying the heal block again, and we're in a very good position to close out this fight. The dangerous part is over. He's not going to get that close to another L2, and we can just close out the fight. I'm going to be trying to bait out more L1s from him, but there is the chance that I just go for the kill, and if that were the case and he didn't want to throw those special ones, I'd just be block baiting heavy, stopping him throwing his L2 and closing out the fight. But he's ticking down very fast. We've completely in control, go for a relic, and had plenty of overkill there with another combo and another special. So yeah, really happy with that fight, and I take it a few more times this season. We take it in a few other BGs as well, and it goes very well. But that was my war. It was a little shaky at times, but I had some good fights in there as well, and I'll tell you, I don't make the mistake of forgetting Mystic Powerbacks again. That was a very stressful situation that I don't want to repeat. But in a sense, it's quite nice. In the same way that last war, I took Void versus Mangog without reads, and it kind of put a lot of pressure on me to solo and do it well. I'm now more comfortable when the fight's easy. So because I've had that pressure with White Tiger versus Serpent, when I take it again with Mystic Powerbacks, I'm just more confident because I've had the pressure of it going really tough. So that's just a nice bonus of surviving that fight. But overall, that'll do it for this war. Thanks very much for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one. Cheers.